Welcome back to Intro to Insight. I am sharing all of the meaningful stories that make me who I am in this first season of Core of Cultivation. Today, we are getting into talking about career and passion and worry and stress. Let's dive right in, shall we? Let's talk about the first time that I went through a career crisis. How old was I? 17 going on 18. Okay, this was 2016. I was in college. I went to college originally for veterinary medicine. I was really into watching Animal Planet. These are just the little fun little things my young Maya was into. So naturally, when the question came about, what do you want to be when you grow up? I really didn't have a job title yet. I just had a vibe. I wanted to work with animals. I wanted to help animals. Junior year of high school came around and there was like this pressure out of nowhere to figure out your major for college, figure out what college you're going to go to. And I was like, hold on. I didn't know we were getting there yet. I didn't know this was like not a little silly game that we're all just hypothetically talking about our careers. Now we actually have to pick, like right now. We have to pick right now. I was absolutely flabbergasted, okay? And so I remember sitting in English class because that's where they brought the career folks to come and help us. And I was talking to the lady and I was like, yeah, I want to work with animals. And she was like, so do veterinary medicine. She's like, veterinary medicine is where the money is at. We started looking at veterinary medicine programs right then and there. I applied to be in pre-vet. Pre-vet is what you do before you get into veterinary medicine. I applied to Michigan State University, yada yada. I got in, whoop-de-boo, love that for me. Let me paint a picture for you, okay? I'm not having a fun time. Academically. Socially was fine, but academically, Mael was not having a good time. I was like super close to being on academic probation. Grab your popcorn, grab your therapist just in case you need to have a quick sidebar. Let's talk about it. One random night, I had this moment where I was just very present with myself, very present with my thoughts and how I was feeling about, being in college. And I had this random thought. I was like, I don't want to be a veterinarian. I feel like I was shattering a secure future for myself. I probably was already crying by the time I called my mom. But I called my mom and it was probably like around 7 p.m. or something like that. 7 p.m. Friday, crying about a degree. That was me. I don't know what else I'm interested in doing. And I remember her asking me like, well, do you want to come home? And I was like, I think I do. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I had this thought of dropping out in college because I was like, I don't want to be a veterinarian and I don't know what else I want to do because I never entertained anything else to this extent because I had been following the veterinarian passion job title since high school. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm in the moment. Like, I don't know if I stick with it or do I just go home? Like, do I get voted off the island because I don't want to be a vet anymore? After that phone call with my mom, I remember, I don't know if it was the same night or if it was like a day later or something like that. I was talking to my roommates and I was like, I'm thinking about dropping out because I don't really know what I want to do. I don't want to be a veterinarian anymore and I'm not sure what I want to do. And my mom was telling me that I could just come back home. And I remember one of them being like, I think it was Jess, being like, Mayo, if you drop out of college, if you drop out and go home, you're not going to come back. I feel like I believe them because in a way I saw that for myself already. Had I let this moment, this career crisis be the reason that I leave college, I knew that it would be the very thing that will keep me away from college as well. With the veterinarian medicine, I was facing a disconnect with my passion. I hadn't figured out yet what I was passionate about, but I'm like, this can't be it. I had to figure out what success meant for me and how did I want to show up in the world and show up for myself. When you've had this dream attached to like your future for so long and then you get to a point and you're like, wait, I don't want to do this. It feels similar to having to grieve someone. Like you have to grieve the person that you thought you were going to become And you also have to grieve this idea of what your life was supposed to look like. In the process of me following a dream that wasn't really aligned with my passions, it allowed me to understand how that felt. How it feels to follow something that isn't aligned with who I am. Now that I know what this path feels like, what the wrong path feels like, then that allowed me to tap in and discover, or be in this space where I was like, okay, now I want to discover, what does it feel like to be passionate about a career? What does it feel like to be passionate about the process of going towards a career? I made it clear to myself that it wasn't an option to drop out. It wasn't an option for me to go back home, because I needed to see this out. Wherever it was going to go, I needed to follow through with it and just trust that I was going to eventually align with whatever was supposed to be in my path. But being in college and being in that space where there are so many different fields and so many different careers happening around you and things being built around you, there's going to be something that is going to align with you. Being exposed to all of these different success stories and being exposed to all of these different paths and things, it inspires you to find what it is that you're looking for. It inspires you to find what you're passionate about. Now that you know that there are people out there who are passionate about what they do, that means that it is also available to you. It is also an opportunity. What am I trying to say? It is also possible. There it is. It is also possible for you to find your passion. So although I was afraid of shedding this past version of myself that thought she wanted to be a veterinarian, I was also willing to change direction. I saw it as changing direction, and I saw it as an opportunity to figure out who MiEle was. I know something is going to catch my eye. I just have to keep my eyes open. How are you going to see what's meant for you if your eyes are closed off to the world? How are you going to see your path if you're scared to open your eyes to new opportunities? There was also a lot of fear and a lot of stress before I found a path to follow, before I decided to transition over to a new direction. So now that I was in the spot of being like, okay, I want to change my major, just don't know to what yet, I was willing to lean on my community to help me figure out what I wanted to do. What was MiEle passionate about? So something that I recognized when I was in college is that I was trying so hard to seek out advice towards other people. Like, I went to my RA, the resident advisor. I went to college advisors, I went to academic advisors, and none of them were able to help me in the way that I needed. Here's what changed the trajectory. I was walking with my good friend Jess. Hello, Justina. Breaking the fourth wall. It was real chill. I don't even know where we were walking to. It was just some chill conversation on the way to wherever we were going. And she was like, MiEle, I could see you like being a coach, like a life coach or whatever. You like to give advice, and you enjoy listening to people's stories and stuff. And a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, how have I not recognized this within myself? And it's because when you are aligned with the right people, they see in you what you don't see in yourself yet. Yes, find your community. Quickly. But yeah, when she told me that, I was like, wow. I was like, let me explore that. And I was allowing myself to be in this explore phase. Allow yourself to be open. Allow your eyes to be open to see the world, to see where you fit in the world with the gifts that you naturally have, and not trying to pressure yourself to fit somewhere. And I feel like when I was trying to study veterinarian, I was pressuring myself to fit into it, because I was like, well, this is what I got into college for. So I was going through all of this different research on what it takes to be a life coach. How do people get into the life coaching career? Like, what major would that align with? And not only what major would that align with, but I was also thinking ahead for myself, and I was like, what major could I go into that will give me freedom to change to a different field, like in in the fields that would potentially intrigue me. Now we're like really at the end of the semester. I was like, I want to be in a better situation by next semester. I told myself I want to have a new major by next semester. I want to be in a totally different field by next semester. So what did I do? I took that time that I could have been using to pack my things, and I took that time to pack my things energetically. Okay, I was like, let me get all of my stuff together so I can get in the process of switching my major from pre-vet to communication. Now, when I also picked up communication, I decided to pick up the minor entrepreneurship, because in that time I was like getting these different vibes that I would be really great at entrepreneurship and wanting to get into like the business side of things. Fast forward to the next semester, where I'm going in with a fresh major, going in with a fresh entrepreneurship minor under my belt. The girl was ready. She was ready to go out into the world and proving that she has a spot at this table. I was like, I want to also find an organization that would help me build the entrepreneurship side, because while I have this minor, I also wanted to explore the different organizations on campus and have that sense of community when it comes to entrepreneurship and business and things like that. I found one online, and then I went to one of the meetings, and it just was not the type of vibe that I was trying to go towards when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like, although there was like, there were students in there, but like the first meeting is really what made me go, yeah, nah, this ain't for me. But I remember in the meeting, she was talking about how like they're going to host events and they're going to party, and sometimes they have a twerk contest. And I'm like, hold on, this is not what I'm looking for. So at that was the first and last meeting that I went to of that organization. I was like, I need to find something else. This ain't working. I had a dream, and in this dream, I was like this motivational speaker, and I was helping this kid who's like a little dark-skinned girl. I was like maybe 10 or something like that. And I remember waking up and being like, oh my gosh, I would love to be a motivational speaker. I think that would be really nice. But then I shut that idea down, because I was like, girl, you don't even like public speaking. Like, you don't even like presenting in front of a classroom. There's no way. Like, I was shutting down this opportunity based on how I felt in the present. And I was like, girl, you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. And so I brushed that thought away, because I'm like, girl, you can't be no motivational speaker if you're not comfortable speaking. Like, that's not a thing. In my building, there was this bulletin board, but something prompted me to look to my left. And when I looked on there, my focus zoomed in. I feel like it zoomed in on this one poster on there. And it was like, if you're afraid of public speaking, come to this event. And I was like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So I like walked up to it, I took a picture of it. And if I didn't see that photo, it wouldn't have prompted me to be like, okay, I'm not good at public speaking right now. Doesn't mean that I can't get good at it. And that is something that a lot of us hold, like a lot of us experience. And let me know if y'all have experienced this as well, where you want something, you see like a job title, for example, you're like, oh no, I can't do that. Or you see a goal, you see a lifestyle, and you're like, I can't do that. But the thing is, we'll be like, I can't do this, but what we really mean is, I don't know how to do that. And we forget to apply the yet. We forget to say, I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm gonna learn. And having those simple words tied into that phrase of I can't do that, it will make such a big difference in how you see yourself. All it takes is for one little thing to be like, if you can't do this, come to this. And it's just a consistent thing. However, now let me tell you about this part. I did a little rant there, but I will say when I went there, I was like, this is not the vibe. It just seemed very rushed at this organization. It was like, oh, here's a prompt, go speak about it in the front. But it was like, it wasn't allowing me to have a connection with the topic. I don't want to just be on a stage talking about anything. I want to be on a stage talking about something I'm passionate about. I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone in an authentic way. I went to 2 of those meetings, and then I was like, nah, this is definitely just not the vibe. I went back to the drawing board of finding an organization, and I was super close to like giving up and not finding one. And I don't even know how this next one came about, but it is the one that really like kept me going in terms of like staying in college and being motivated to be this entrepreneur and being connected with people. And I'm not sure how I found it, but it was a woman in entrepreneurship. The first time that I went to that meeting, within like the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this is the one. It did not take me long. And that's how you know when something is very aligned with you, is that when it does not take you long to be like, oh, that's the one. They talked about these different trips that we would go on. They talked about all these different hands-on experiences that I would gain and how it would help me build my confidence in entrepreneurship. I ended up dropping the minor because I was like, I'm going to get so much more from this organization alone, who is very much more hands-on and will help me with my confidence and stuff like that. And that's what I ended up doing. I set my membership up for that organization that semester. I was like, here's the money. Here's the dues, a little $15. And I'm ready. I'm ready to hit the ground running with this. So at this point, I was majoring in communication, dropped my entrepreneurship minor, but I was a member of Women in Entrepreneurship. And I tell you that organization did so much for me. The type of hands-on experience I got, like connecting with entrepreneurs in different states, they was flying us out. They was giving us the hands-on experience of people who want to be in entrepreneurship. They were giving us networking opportunities. They were giving us pitch competitions and stuff. Sometimes you really have to lean on your community in order to find your purpose, because a lot of what I do now and what I want to continue to do is community oriented. And I'm so glad that I was able to just follow this path through, even though I was crying, stressing, screaming, crying. You have to be willing to restart. And I remember when I was crying to my mom, a part of me was scared to have that restart. Part of me was terrified of what was going to come out of this had I not stuck with the plan that I had been following for a few years, But at the end of it all, I found my path. And let me just say, I did get my degree in communication. I went from being just a regular member in there, getting flown out to these different cities and stuff to meet entrepreneurs, to being on the executive board for that organization as director of marketing. And that is what helped me be better at public speaking. I was giving out presentations during our workshops with our different members. I was leading meetings. I didn't have to do it the way that one organization told me to. I found a way to do it my authentic way. I was able to open up other doors. And now that I knew that I wanted to be a coach, I was like, okay, how can I work towards that? So I ended up getting a job in college where I was a student coach for freshmen that were coming in. And at that time, I was a junior in college. So I had that job where I was coaching freshmen, and that was like a personal growth and academic growth coaching that was happening. And then I picked up another mentoring job over a weekend that was mentoring middle school girls. And I just kept going. And then with the director of marketing, that was like coaching in itself, because I was helping these girls, these students, be better at marketing when it comes to their up and coming businesses and stuff like that. So I have still been following the path of coaching, and I continue to follow it now. Like I did coaching when I was out of college. I did coaching in Detroit public schools, and now I'm moving out of that because I wanted to explore a different type of coaching, still into marketing and sales, and I'm only diving deeper into that as well. When I graduated college, it felt like that I was only just getting closer to the things that I enjoy doing. I was getting closer to MiEle's voice. Allow yourself to be in this space where you're like, okay, I don't know what I want to do right now. And instead of worrying about all of the problems that can cause me by not knowing what I want to do, instead of worrying about the problems that it can cause me, I am going to explore the possibilities, because now the plate is wiped clean. The plate is wiped clean, and I can add whatever I want on here that's going to nourish my soul, nourish my voice, nourish my, my human essence in my community and stuff like that. And that is what I'm going to continue to build upon. That is what I'm going to continue to cook. My name is MiEle, and this is Intro to Insight. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, show some love, send a comment, let me know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, if anything resonated, if anything was similar or different.